Imagine that you just had a baby. You notice a sense of excitement in the room. Finally, the doctor comes to you with a big smile saying, "I have some important news to give to you. Based on our preliminary examination, we believe your baby has Einstein syndrome." The doctor goes on to tell you that children with Einstein syndrome typically read by age 3 and by 6 or 7 read at a high school level. They can master many languages during their preschool years, develop phenomenal vocabularies, and complete high school by age 10 or 11 and college by 15. Furthermore, children with Einstein syndrome have remarkable physical skills, and they tend to be excellent musicians. Now contrast this with another scenario. This one, all too real. After giving birth, there's a stillness in the delivery room. The nurses seem to avoid you. Finally, maybe several hours later, the doctor tells you what is wrong. Your baby has Down syndrome. Try not to let it ruin your life. These two scenarios were written by Miriam Kelk, who as a mother of a child with Down syndrome has experienced the second one personally. 11 years ago, the same thing happened to my parents. My younger brother Wesley was born with Down syndrome. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Down syndrome in general, what the world might be like if there were more people with Down syndrome, one of the greatest and newest threats to the future generations of Down syndrome babies, and what life is really like for those with Down syndrome. Let's start off with some general information about Down syndrome. People are normally born with 23 chromosomes in pairs, but those with Down syndrome have an extra 21st chromosome, so the technical name is trisomy 21. Children with Down syndrome start off developing like their healthy peers, but this extra chromosome creates a buildup of toxins in the body, which causes muscle weakness and increasing brain damage, resulting in delays in physical, mental, and language development. Between 30 and 50% of individuals with Down syndrome are born with heart defects, and 8 to 12% are born with gastrointestinal tract problems, both of which are correctable by surgery. Over 30% develop thyroid problems, which can be corrected by medication, and nutritional supplements can now reduce the damage from the toxins and enhance learning and physical well-being. People with Down syndrome are more similar to others than they are different, and just as in the general population, there is great diversity among them in terms of personality, intelligence, appearance, humor, compassion, and attitude. I have enjoyed life with my brother Wesley for the last 11 years, and in this time I have really learned to appreciate him and understand how some characteristics common in people with Down syndrome have shaped his personality. So how would the world be different if there were more people with Down syndrome? Dr. Dennis McGuire, whose medical team has worked with over 3,000 teens and adults with Down syndrome, lists several ways which I have adapted here to include illustrations with my brother. For starters, affection, hugging, and caring for others would make a big comeback. My brother is always sitting next to us, holding our hands, and never forgets to give out goodnight kisses. Often when he wants to wake up my mom, he pretends that she is Sleeping Beauty and he is the prince, and if kissing her the first time doesn't wake her up, he tries again, and again, and again. The world would be refreshingly honest and genuine. People with Down syndrome are very straightforward and unpretentious. My family always enjoys Wesley's response when you tell him he did a good job. His answer is simply, matter-of-factly, and proudly, yes. Self-talk would be considered thoughtful and creative. My brother talks himself through his homework, playing the Wii, and watching movies. We often hear Wesley saying, "Go, Wesley, go!" or telling movie characters, "Watch out, guy!" And when he's doing his homework, Wesley often motivates himself by saying, "Come on, brain, work!" Living in the here and now would command more respect, and stopping to smell the roses would not just be a cliche. Wesley can't walk down the street without picking up a stick and exploring everything he encounters. He is the slowest person I know, except when he really wants to do something. For instance, when he wants to play baseball with his friends, he cleans his room in record time. People wouldn't lie or keep secrets. Whenever Wesley hears a secret, he wants to make sure no one is left out. One year Wesley went shopping with us for my mom's birthday, and as soon as we got home, he ran in the door and whispered in my mom's ear what we had bought her. Anger wouldn't be as common. People with Down syndrome are sensitive to anger and do all they can to resolve conflicts. Whenever someone in my family is angry, Wesley is always sitting next to them, giving them a hug or cheering them up with one of his many goofy smiles. Music would be everywhere. A love for music is common among people with Down syndrome, and since my sister is very vocal about the musicians and bands she likes, in the last few years Wesley has followed her in liking High School Musical, then Camp Rock, then the Jonas Brothers, then Justin Bieber, then Big Time Rush, then One Direction, and also Taylor Swift. As you can see, there's a lot we can learn from people with Down syndrome, such as warmth, honesty, living in the present, transparency, and valuing relationships. The world would be a better place if more of us had contact with people with Down syndrome. But with new medical technology, that doesn't seem like the direction we're headed. The most alarming statistic that I've heard is that at least 90% of babies diagnosed with Down syndrome through prenatal tests are aborted. Many believe this is because parents are pressured into abortion by their doctors. A new blood test developed by Sequinum claims to achieve a 98.6% accuracy at predicting whether a child has Down syndrome or not, and to be safer than tissue or fluid sampling. But safer for whom? Not for the unborn baby, who if he or she tests positive for Down syndrome, stands a 90% chance of never seeing the light of day. Since the disorder is built into the baby's genetic makeup, it can't be cured, only eliminated by eliminating the baby. Sometimes mothers are counseled to do this, and sometimes fear or ignorance compels them. With widespread use of this new test, the number of Down syndrome babies aborted is likely to go even higher. This new early non-invasive genetic test called Maternity 21 was made available throughout the United States in mid-October 2011. This can only increase the pressure on expectant parents to get rid of their Down syndrome child. Pressure is also increasing on the medical community to push parents into aborting their Down syndrome babies. On March 11, 2012, Ariel and Deborah Levy won a lawsuit against Oregon's Legacy Health Hospital for failing to diagnose their child's Down syndrome in a prenatal scan. They said they would have aborted their daughter, Talinette, had they known she was going to have Down syndrome. The Oregon court awarded the couple $2.9 million. The impact of this lawsuit is that all medical professionals are now under pressure to diagnose and urge the abortion of Down syndrome babies, or run the risk of litigation for failing to do so. Our culture of death says better dead than have Downs. However, several new studies present an encouraging and more accurate picture of what life is really like for those who survive to live with Down syndrome and for their families. Researchers at the Children's Hospital in Boston surveyed families where a member has Down syndrome. Among the 2,044 parents or guardians surveyed, 79% reported their outlook on life was more positive because of their child with Down syndrome. 97% of siblings aged 12 and older feel proud of their brother or sister with Down syndrome, and 88% are convinced they are better people because of their sibling. The same study found that 97% of adults with Down syndrome like who they are, and 99% are happy with their lives. So the culture of death says better dead than have Downs, and tells parents they are doing the right thing by killing their Down syndrome child. However, these new studies tell us that such misguided thinking is robbing these families, as well as their unborn child, of great happiness. Watching Wesley struggle through challenges has certainly enriched my life and given me a great appreciation for him. His perseverance in reading, writing, math, speech, and social skills is truly an inspiration. He has shown me so many little things that I would have never noticed without his attention to them, and he has brought great joy and happiness to my life and to my family. Wesley may not contribute to society the way that an Einstein would, but perhaps his contribution is even more valuable and necessary in our world today. Please pray with me that the threat from this new blood test will be overcome by widespread recognition of the many positive benefits that people with Down syndrome bring to their friends, families, and to this world. Wouldn't it be great if doctors started reporting the birth of a child with Down syndrome with a smile, saying, "There will be challenges, but you will overcome them and end up with a better outlook on life than most. This may not be what you expected, but God knows it's far better." I know it has been for me. Thank you.